All right. And good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is Black Success Magazine, the podcast. And welcome, everybody, to Black Success Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Sherman Ray, coming to you Monday through Friday, 8:30 in the morning. It's about 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about the people, the places, the things, the trends from a Black success perspective. And I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. It was very relaxing. Got a lot of things done I'd like to tell you about this week. But before we do that, just want to make sure you remember to head on over to our website at blacksuccessmagazine.com to check out the articles and all the cool stuff. We got some great announcements we're going to be talking about on the website. Also, if you'd like to just ask me some questions, you'd like to send in some emails to me. Our email address is info@blacksuccessmagazine.com. And as always, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. So some cool things have been going on, folks, this weekend. I hope that many of you were able to get out. I know here in Las Vegas, the weather was just smashing. Loved it. That's my new word, smashing. Great weekend. Sun was out, sun shining. Weather was just perfect. Just a little bit of a breeze. And that's why people come to Las Vegas. They really do. They love it. I know we're starting to open up our casinos more and more and more. So, cause we're a tourist town. So more and more people were coming out. So you can't beat it. Our Vegas Golden Knights won all weekend long. I think we lost last night, but that you can lose one game out of like 30 or 40. And so we're doing great. Who would have thought here in Las Vegas that we'd become a hockey town? Also, the NBA, the NCAA, the men's and the women's are playing right now. It's just a fantastic time. And a lot of these great teams were out there winning. And so it just made things real cool. So today we're going to talk about trends and everything else. But in the last segment, we're actually going to talk about if you're going to go back in the job market. We're going to give you six tips on things to look at. And we call them red flags to look at if you're seeking another job. So in the last segment, we'll talk about that. And I think you'll enjoy that. Let's start off with a story, though, I thought was actually pretty cool. There is a lady, what's her name? Jacqueline Grace. She is out of New Jersey, which I'm from Jersey, folks. And she is the one of the very few Black women in charge of an Atlantic City casino. And this story is, it's just a fairly fresh story. Jacqueline Grace is Tropicana Atlantic City Senior Vice President and General Manager, waits for guests and honor questions to stand in the palm inside Tropicana Atlantic City. So the Tropicana, so we have a Tropicana here too. But the one in Atlantic City was bustling on a recent Saturday afternoon as guests wandered out looking for the front desk place to eat and their next big win, standing beneath the walks palm trees at the intersection that leads to the abundance of gaming opportunities, or the Quota, the property's inside mall area, stood Jacqueline Grace. And so Jacqueline stepped up, and now she is actually she's actually the head of the Tropicana, which was really pretty cool. So you can't in the world of hospitality, in the world of gaming, Blacks have always had this ceiling. What they generally will do is what'll happen is they'll see a talented Black, executive or somebody who they think can be an executive. And they'll say, you know what we can do? We'll make you the diversity person. We'll make you the, maybe the liaison to the vice president of blah, 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 blah. But to say we're going to make you the general manager, the guy, the woman who is the head of the casino is very tough. And in Jacqueline's case, they were able to do that. And congratulations to her. She'll be able to do a lot of great things there. And these are not figurehead positions, folks. If you are running a major casino, which the Tropicana it's a long lineage, you've got to be able to do some stuff. So you don't take anything away from anybody who's been able to move up to the top of the ranks, because it just doesn't happen. These things just don't happen. Another story, this is kind of a light-hearted story. There's a black chess champion, and in celebration of Good Deeds Day, his name is Orrin Checkmate Hudson. He's a national mentor and award-winning community activist, offering a free online training session via Zoom on Sunday, April the 11th. So we want to make sure we got this out, because usually these stories will come out and you'll kind of miss the date. April the 11th from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The event will be open to both young and old people, youths from 8 to 88. And international chess champion Orrin will be giving away free strategies to help both young ones and older ones alike to clearly understand that there are consequences to every move they make in life. Now, this is a really pretty cool story. And one of the biggest reasons why is because chess is a game of strategy. And there's a lot of things that we do in life that we just don't, sometimes we just don't take into consideration, especially when you're younger. You're younger, you figure out, hey, guess what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to go out with this young, beautiful girl. And I might go out drinking when you're underage, or you might go out speeding your car when you're overage. They have consequences. Everything has consequences. And so Orrin is going to be giving out a free Zoom lesson, tying it in with life strategies. Thank you so much for that. How many of you heard about LeBron James over the weekend? Okay, so LeBron James. Now, I'm kind of freaked out about this because LeBron James, many of you know, is a basketball player. Some say the greatest of all times. I personally am a Michael Jordan fan. I'm a Kobe Bryant fan, but some say that that LeBron James is the greatest of all time. And so over the last couple of weeks, he pulled off a deal to become a part owner of not a basketball team, but the Boston Red Sox. Yeah, that's pretty amazing story. How a guy who is basketball. You would think that that'd be his first thing that he'd go, but no. It's baseball. So NBA stars putting on focus on expanding his sports ownership portfolio. According to ESPN, the Ohio native has become a Fenway Sports Group partner, which gives him an ownership stake in the Boston Red Sox. So that's a big story. The partnership is historic, as James and his business partner, Maverick Carter, are the first Black partners in the Fenway Group's 20-year existence. By becoming owners, James and Carter will have equity in FSB, or Fenway Sports Group subsidiaries that include Fenway Sports Management, the New England Sports Network, and Roush Fenway Racing. So he's getting into a lot of stuff. So these guys have got this big consortium where they own parts and pieces of a lot of stuff, and because he's now part of that group, he owns part of these organizations also. The NBA has barred active players from owning parts of the basketball league, so James decided to branch out and explore ownership opportunities within other professional sports entities. Okay, which explains why he is not an owner in an NBA team. It's because the NBA says no, it's kind of a conflict of interest. We saw the same sort of thing happen with Pete Rose many years ago. Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle was betting on and against his own team, and that's a conflict. So we understand now that. Congratulations to LeBron James, who's done some great things. We pray for him because guess what? He hurt his ankle over the weekend, and as an LA Laker fan, even though I'm not a big LeBron James fan, I believe that this guy's got such an impact on the game that you cannot deny that what he's done. So let's take a real quick break, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk about a veteran anchor, and she's done some cool things, and she's taking on a new spot on in CBS. So we'll talk about that in just a second. This has been Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We'll be right back. Okay. So thank you, folks, for standing by. This is Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We come to you Monday through Friday, talk to you about some really cool things. I mean, some people of interest, some trends. In our last segment, we're going to talk about 6 keys on some red flags that you probably should take a look at if you are going to go back into the job market. So stick around for that, folks. I think you're really going to find that interesting. So in the news, Nichelle Turner. She has been named Entertainment Tonight co-host, the first Black woman to anchor this show. Now, this is pretty cool. And I saw her on, I was watching some thing yesterday, and I said, honey, she looks very familiar. Who is this woman? And my wife says, oh, I don't recognize her. I go, no, I know who this lady is. Veteran broadcast journalist Nichelle Turner has made history at CBS by becoming the first Black woman to host Entertainment Tonight. Now, this is big because she's in the history of Entertainment Tonight. You've had Black people that are on there as correspondents and reporters and everything, but not as the host of Entertainment Tonight. Turner hosted her first episode on Thursday alongside with Kevin Frazier, who is also Black. She is the first woman of color to be a host on the show, and this marks the first time ET, or Entertainment Tonight, will be anchored by 2 Black people at the same time, or 2 people of color in a full-time capacity of variety reporting. The 4-time Daytime Emmy Award-winning journalist previously served as correspondent, like I said, weekend co-host of ET, which she joined in 2014. Turner's also a longtime contributor for CNN, and that's where I saw her. I think I saw her on CNN. Turner celebrated her new gig by paying homage to other inspiring Black women and women of color who have worked in journalism and entertainment industry. This is really a cool story. This is one of those feel-good stories. And once again, I think what a lot of people are thinking is that a lot of these positions that are opening up to Black talent are just basically here. Just give them the job. Just get them quiet. Okay, but no, these are positions, and in Nichelle's case, she's been with the company with ET for 8 years. I mean, it's not like she'd just been, she just came off the boat and they said, hey, there's a lot of racial rancor going on in America. We'll just give a job up. No, she's been doing this for a long time. She's been on CNN. She's been doing the things that she has done to go up the ranks. And this is important that we as people who are on a success journey, and that we do not feel like, that we are owed anything, and that if we get something or if we are offered a position, that it's a set aside. And especially in this culture right now where, if we've got a lot of racial unrest in the country, we work for the things we're doing. We tirelessly work. The problem might be that, guess what? Those positions were not righteously given to the people who deserve them. We want to earn what we get, right? I mean, I think we all feel much better about the fact that we earn what we get. Usain Bolt did not win the 100-meter dash because somebody gave it to him. Okay, Jesse Owens didn't win all of those awards because somebody gave it to him. Okay. LeBron James does not become spoken in the same sentence as the greats of all times because somebody gave that to him. We earn those things, and that's the most important thing. So, Nichelle, we thank you so much for that. That's a great story. I really do. Let's go on because we don't have a lot of time left. The Falcon himself. Many of you know that there's a new show coming out. It's called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Anthony Mackie is the guy who is the Falcon, and we're so excited about him being able to do this. came on as the Falcon during the Marvel comics, and really didn't have a major part. But they were saying to themselves, we've got to be able to find something for this character because it's such a strong character. They couldn't cut him out because guess what? People were saying, we like this character. We like the fact that this guy's flying around. He's got wings. He's got the projectiles, all this other stuff. And so coming up, Disney Plus is going to have the story about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I think that's cool. So many people say that he is actually Captain America. Okay. Because he's got some skills. So, we're very excited about that. And do we have enough? I've got enough time. Okay. Yeah, I've got enough time for this last story. I've got a couple last stories, but I'm going to do this one. On a sadder note, the Black female founder of United Bank of Philadelphia passed away, 80 years of age. Emma Chappell, excuse me, the first Black woman to form a commercial bank, the United Bank of Philadelphia, died at age 80 just recently. This is one of those stories. Now, the cool thing about this is many of you remember the story of the Black Wall Street, where a group of Black families get together and they create this great community, schools, banks, all this kind of stuff. And then, I'm stalling here because I'm trying to remember where exactly it was at, and I can't remember off the top of my head. Those things you should remember, but I didn't. So we showed that we could do those things in this particular town. Had it not been for the citizenry of this Midwestern town, the Black Wall Street would still be there. Okay. Well, Chappell started the bank in 1992 after raising $6 million to fund the bank and to serve as the bank's president and CEO for 8 years, retiring in year 2000. She started the bank in order to improve banking services in Philadelphia's Black and Hispanic area, which were largely ignored by national banks. And we see this happen.
Step up.
Sorry about that. All over the world. So hopefully that won't do that again because that's really loud. So we pay tribute to this woman who did a great job.
Step up, prep up to help keep you free from the risk of HIV. Let's go for prep.
I'm sorry about that, folks. Sometimes those things happen where you have, these pages that'll come up and they'll just have these sounds. I'm trying to check my time here, folks. I'm going to run out of time, but I'm going to talk about one more thing. Many of you, and I'll just make an allusion to it. What we'll do on tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about the new movie that's coming out that's going to be talking about Aretha Franklin. I'm very excited about that, but not so much about that. I mean, that's important too. But there are some lessons that we learn about Black masculinity that I think you're going to want to hear about based upon this movie. And we find those things out in this movie. So when we come back, folks, we're going to talk about some things to take a look at if you're thinking about going back into the job market. And there's 6 tips that we want to give you. They might be red flags. Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We'll be back in just a second. All right. And we were a little short in that last segment because we've got some things I really want to get to in our last segment. And there's a lot of people who are thinking about, guess what? COVID is coming to an end. We've got these vaccines coming out. Schools are starting to open up. The capacities for businesses are starting to open up a little bit more. Very positive signs for the future. Well, some of us might be thinking about going back into the job market. And if you are one of those people, there's some signs that you might want to take a look at before you go out there and just take whatever job there is, because who wants to be in a position where you're just not going to be happy? You just, you get a job. It takes time that there's one thing we don't have more of, and that is time. So, there's some red flags that you want to look at. So the first red flag that you want to, let's say you find that job, you think, oh, this is a great place, but you hear this. They tell you that the responsibilities in that job are going to increase. Hey, that's a good thing. Who could argue with that? My responsibilities will increase. That means I'm going to be more valuable. But they say the pay does not increase in the same proportion. Okay, that's a problem. Yeah. If the job interview lists a lot of more responsibilities than was reported in the job description, pay attention. It's normal that not all the duties are detailed, but if the list grows alarmingly, it may not correspond to the pay that is offered. So you say, okay, guess what? I come into this job, the list of responsibilities that you said in your advertisement don't, but when you say get into the job, they go, well, yeah, but you know what? I'm glad you answered the call, but really the list of responsibilities is this long, but the pay is still only like there. You have to say to yourself, this may be a problem because it sounds to me like this company is probably going to continue this way, this kind of thinking in the future. Number two, there's a lack of learning opportunities. And that's something you always want to consider when you're getting into a job. When you start into a job, one of the keys is that most jobs are not going to be where you're going to spend the rest of your life. Those days of being in one place for 25 years is probably gone. The average now is probably about 4 or 5 years, and it might even be less than that. So every job you should be adding on to your resume of things that you're learning so that every place you go to, you're a better person. You must analyze how much opportunity for growth the job will offer you, either through the activities that you will carry out on a daily basis or whether the company cares about inviting professionals to give talks and advise their employees, offer training courses, consultancies, or even encourage your employees to take courses elsewhere. Okay. Find out if the company allocates a specific budget for this area. So that's really important because if the job is, hey, guess what? You're going to do this all day long with the remote control, then it's probably not the place for you. Okay. Because you want to grow in every aspect of where you're at. And that's really important. Number three, accepting the job will lead you in the wrong direction. What do we mean by that? Even if you're not very clear about where you want to go professionally, and most of us aren't, especially if you're younger, there may be signs that the position is not for you. Think of it this way. And at the time, you will spend doing something that you will not be happy doing or give you the experience or learning that you require while your professional competency develops the skills that you would like to acquire. So are you going left when you should be going right? Okay. Are you into graphic design, but the job you're doing is digging ditches, okay, which are not adding to your graphic design goals? Is the job that you're pursuing adding to your core competencies? Because if it's not, it's probably a red flag that you probably should consider something else, even if the pay is great. Okay, even if the pay is great, if it takes all your time to do it, probably not the place for you. Okay, still got time. Number four, doing pretty good on this. Good on time. Number four, if there is a constant change of personnel or constant resignations, boom, what? Everybody's jumping the ship at this job. Okay, that's probably not a good sign either. It's hard to tell at first glance, but there may be some signs and some clear signs on this one. See if any vacancies is constantly advertised on job boards or pages where that you're looking for a job. Okay, if there's high turnover in that position, that's probably a red flag. Okay, either the boss is being unreasonable, either the company's being unreasonable, either people are finding out once they accept these jobs, it's not really what they're saying it is. Okay. If there's a lot of vacancies, then it's probably not a great idea. I know somebody right now who is considering, leaving a job or leaving a position because of that same thing. That there just seems to be always this craziness going on at their office that they're thinking, well, maybe this is probably not the best place to be. Number 5, nobody asks you what your long-term goals are. Okay. All right. This is really interesting. If the interviewer is not interested in your plans for the future and does not tell you about growth possibilities within the company, he or she or they are probably only interested in your occupying a job that does not have much future. Okay. If they're not thinking about your future, okay, if they're not thinking about you moving up the rung, about you creating new opportunities in the business because of what they want to pour into you, that's probably not a good place for you also. Okay. You want, especially, you don't want to just be a cog in the big spoke of this thing. You want to be a contributor to the life of this business. If the business isn't thinking that they're going to be around for 10, 20, 30 years, then why would you want to be there? Okay. You want to be in a place that's going to continue to grow. And if they're not thinking about growth and they're not thinking about your being a part of that growth, that might be an issue also. Lastly, okay. Oh, good. I'm going to make it. There is no chemistry with who you will be in direct contact with or your direct boss. Okay. In the interview phase, at some point, you'll be interviewed by who will be your immediate boss. Make sure you empathize with and get along with that person. Analyze whether there will be a fruitful employment relationship. Otherwise, they may be your first enemy in the company or someone who limits your potential. All right. And I think this goes without saying. People like to be at a place where they like to be at. I used to be in construction, and I was in construction for 15 years. Loved construction, and I loved the guys I worked with. I mean, I really did. I mean, the guys I worked with, it was my immediate supervisors that made my life just unbearable. It really did. Where I was a supervisor, I was a foreman, and I was a foreman for the last number of years that I was in the construction. And I was asked to do things that I just was not going to do. I'm not that guy, folks. I'm just not that hard driving guy that's going to, beat people up and browbeat people. I'm just not that guy. But in construction, they felt like, hey, that's what we need to do to get the job done. And I said to myself, okay, can I stay in this position or can I not? And eventually it got to the point where I said, I can't do it. There's just no way. And I think my bosses knew that. They knew that, hey, Sherman is not the guy to do this kind of work our way. Okay, he's not going to beat up his guys. He trusts his guys. He wants his guys to like him. I'm that guy. I want my people to like me because I am the kind of guy that will just fire people. If I don't like you and we're not going to get along and I have to fight you to work, to do something, I will give you an opportunity to find somebody who cares. This is my thing. You probably need to find a position where somebody cares about you more than I do. Okay. Because I really want to care about you. I really want you to love what you're doing. I want you to work for me or work with me because you really want to be there, not because I'm threatening you, because that's not way to work. That's no way to work. You don't want to work that way. Okay. Okay. Anyways, so tomorrow, folks, I hope you dug that. Tomorrow we're going to once again we're going to talk. Part of the show is going to be about those characteristics that men had during the times of Aretha Franklin. I think that's really important for today's guy, and we'll talk about a lot more stuff. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed the show, folks. I saw a comment there. I didn't notice it. But I hope that you enjoyed the show, folks. We will see you again tomorrow, 8:30 Pacific Standard Time for Black Success Magazine, the podcast. Once again, if you want to reach out to me, just send me an email at info@blacksuccessmagazine.com or go to our website, blacksuccessmagazine.com. This has been Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.